Northumbrian here, and I've been lucky enough to get myself out for another little adventure. So we're crossing the Sound of Sleat on the way to the Inner Hebrides, and we're on the way to the largest of the small isles. We're on our way to Rum, and I'm very excited. We'll do a canny black pudding and bacon butty here as well, mind. There's only about 40 folk permanently live on Rum, and they all live in the hamlet of Kinloch, where the ferry's just docked. And that's 40 people compared to a population of about 1,000 red deer. So I don't expect to see many folk once we get out of the village. It is beautiful here, mate. The Kinloch campsite looks pretty tempting actually, and the first plan was actually to stay the first night at the campsite, but there's so much daylight left. It's only 14:23, so we've got probably 4 hours of daylight left. So we're actually just going to head straight for Guirdil Bothy and see if we can get there in good light. As usual, I'm not out by myself. I'm out with two fine gentlemen of the road and two great friends of mine. I'm out with Silky Nick on the left there, carrying a huge bag of logs, which we'll all take a turn at, and Sean P, the gentleman's gentleman, master of Epicurean carnivorian delights. That's the bunkhouse there, which looks very appealing if I ever come back here. The island's been occupied for thousands of years, since Mesolithic times. But the family who loomed large in the history of Rome in modern-ish times was the Buller family. John Buller was a Lancastrian textile magnate who purchased the island in 1888, but he died shortly after in 1891, and he had two sons, but I think the island largely passed on to his son George, who became Sir George later on. And it was George Buller who commissioned the building of an incredible late Victorian sandstone mansion on the island called Kinloch Castle. And I think it's closed to the public nowadays, but you could go in recently, and it looks absolutely incredible. It took 3 years to build, starting in 1897, and was built with red sandstone from the Isle of Arran. Very famous back in its day, is a party destination for the rich and the famous. It's fallen into a bit of disrepair now, but it still looks absolutely incredible. So two things have just happened, one good and one bad. The bad thing is the attachment from my camera to the tripod is just completely sheared off right at the beginning of the trip, just off the ferry more or less. So no tripod, so you'll get some funny angles on the camera from now. I'm going to have to improvise. The second thing, which actually was pretty good and quite unusual, is that it was my turn to carry the big bag of logs, and I'm a little fella, and I must have looked like I was struggling, because a Land Rover full of Frenchmen has just pulled up and asked if they want to them to carry the logs in the car and drop it off at the turn off down the road. So wow, it's not true what they say about Frenchmen. They're very good people. the weather is eerily still. There's absolutely not a breath of wind about, and that's fantastic because it means that if midges were about, they'd be all over the place by now, and there's no sign of them. So I think we've done right in coming here in March and missing them all. And there's just a silence that I've rarely experienced elsewhere. Here's the first fork in the road we've had since leaving Kinloch, and we're going to turn right for Kilmory, and hopefully that's where that car full of French folk have dropped off the logs. He did say he was leaving in pretty good English, "Thank you for the logs," so we'll see. I think it was a joke. So at the turn off for Kilmory here, what can I see? A bag of logs kindly left for us, and that saved us about a couple of kilometres carrying it. Right. That's most welcome. So the path to Kilmory looks nice and flat, but we're actually going to take a left turn up here, and it looks like it goes really steep. Oh. This bag of logs is pretty punishing up these steep boggy tracks, but we're taking our turns. Oh, flippers! Oh. And I just waded into a bog that you couldn't see, and I think the weight of the logs drove us right in. I've been up to me past my knees, and despite the fact I had waterproof trousers on, I had them zipped open to let them breathe a bit, so my pants are completely soaked. I love these kind of things, man. Love them. But the thing is, we'll get the logs on at the Bothy, and I think we'll get there just before dusk. We'll get things dried out. That's what we're carrying them for. Yeah. That's Black Hill there, and that's Fiancra, I think. Fiancra, and the sun's setting. Soon going to set behind there, but actually we've got about 2 hours left of daylight, so we'll follow this valley, the Glen Shelida Valley I think it is, and the Bothy I think is only about 4 kilometres away. Doesn't sound a lot, but this going is pretty treacherous in terms of how boggy with concealed hollows it is. Ooh. This is the mouth of the Glen Shelida Burn, and this is the main ford that we've got to cross, the main river. Nick's halfway across with the bags there, and it doesn't look too bad to cross here. We'll see how it goes. It is just so beautiful here across the bay to Canna. What a sight. And there's the lads, and that's Bloodstone Hill there, and for all it looks flat topped, it's a pretty ominous presence from where I'm standing, and the Bothy is at the foot of there, and there's about a kilometre to go, you know, just 1,000 yards or so. So let's do it. We've just caught sight of the Bothy for the first time, and it's 300 yards away before we could see it. It's so tucked in to the valley as it leaves the bay, and we're all fed up, absolutely fed up. And I'm not gonna lie, I've really struggled the last half of the walk. We're all trying to share the logs, but you know, Nick has done more than the lion's share, and I just really struggled with it. I fell down more times than I can count. Other lads didn't seem to be bothered by that so much, but I'm so pleased to see the Bothy. I can't even speak. We're gonna get there, get in, and just get dry. Nick, how do you feel?
Shattered. That was a long hike in. Yep, pretty rough, pretty rough.
Sean, how do you feel?
Awful.
Right folks, I'm going to give you a proper look around the bothy in the morning, but for now, get the fire lit, get a ration pack on, get some hot chocolate, have a nip of whiskey, and we're all exhausted. You know, Sean drove throughout the night last night, and he hasn't slept, but none of us got much sleep. And that hike in has really finished us off. We're old men and we want to go to bed. Right folks, I've been rested, well fed, I've got dry feet. Now I've just noticed my face is like my granddad's after he came from the pits. I forgot that that bioethanol, when you use it, and it just gets soot all over the bottom of your titanium mug. Look at my face, man. Yeah, it'll be alright. Anyway, I've just been enjoying the bothy for it is tonight. I've been absolutely cream cracker, so I'm going to get some rest and I'll catch you in the morning, hopefully for a great sunrise and a little explore around the bothy. Right, let's show you around the bothy now. It's got the right hand room and the left hand room. The left hand room is it's got some nice wooden floorboards, and it's got the stairs in the corner which lead up to a mezzanine space. It's got the old stag on the wall there, but it looks like it's mainly used as a work storage area. But you know, if there's loads of people here, you absolutely could sleep on the floor here, no problem. And back through to the right hand room. This window lets a lovely load of light in, and it's got the old stag above the fireplace there, and it's flanked by its deputies. Wild goat up there, and a wild goat in the far corner there. I love that. I don't know if the fireplace is original or not, but it was most welcome last night when we arrived, sodden and damp. There's my socks still drying up there. And this right hand room has got this really good metal topped kitchen area around two sides of the bothy, and it's great for cooking on. We all cooked on here last night, and this is all our food to last the next 4 days or so. That's all my food. Doesn't look a lot, does it? There's a photograph last night of these two fine fellas mountain biking. I don't know who they are, but hi guys. I've never seen this in a bothy before, but I have once. It's an MBA first aid kit, and the bothies where I'm from, Northumbrian, I don't think it would last. It would probably get trashed or burnt or anything, but that's a really nice idea, MBA, and thanks for putting that there. And it's got, in the corner, I always love to see some bothies, a little sign of civilization in the wilderness. It's got a little shelf just full of books, so if you've got here by yourself, got the fire going, you're warm and cosy, you can just take out a book and just read a book, and that'll be champion. And in the main room, if you look above there, it's got this fantastic use of space. Sound like George, is it George Holmes? Does Amazing Spaces? You know who I mean, sound like George Holmes. There's a mezzanine area up there which you access from the stairs in the other room, so let's have a look up there. Very steep. And look at this, how cool is this? It's exactly the right height for me. And wood panelled, really warm, cosy. And there's Nick's gear, Sean's gear, and there's my gear in the corner. We had a really good night's sleep last night in here. I'm not going to say it, but judging by the skeleton, the size of it, that's a big old red deer there, big old stag. The skull and the horns have gone. I think the rest of the skeleton is pretty much there. Huge scapula. And I'm actually not sure what this is because it's so different to a human, but it's not. I mean, you look at it at that angle and you think it could be a skull, but it's not. I think it's a pelvic bone. We found the best way down to the stream is just to out the front door of the bothy, turn left, and between these two little sets of cairns there's a cleared path and all the shingle. Walk down here to the little burn. And mine, on a good day, collecting water from here is no hardship. It's absolutely gorgeous. This place is just stunningly beautiful. The water from the burn is crystal clear. There's no filtrate in it. I don't think we need to filter it. I'm just going to pop in a sterilising tablet just for good luck. 1 per 1 litre of water. Got another few days to go and I don't want some awful GI illness. Although actually I think it'll be fine. Sean's taken the tack of just drinking straight from the burn and he's not curled up in a bowl yet. Gùirdil Cottage, restored from ruin by the Mountain Bothies Association in 1982 in memory of Tom and Margaret Brown. Only in heavenly spirit now they tread high tops where daily worries fled, where life was good and days were long and nature thrilled them with its song. Isn't that fantastic? And there's a photograph of the MacDonald family, the last family to have lived at Gùirdil around 1870 to 1890, and this photograph was taken about 1900. So we've got Christina, Alexander, who's a shepherd, Marion, Catherine the mother, Donald the younger, Sarah and John, Alexander, who's known as Sandy, Donald the elder, and Catherine, known as Kate. And where we slept in their house last night and we were grateful for it. Thank you to the MacDonald clan. The views from all the windows are just tremendous. There's Canna over there. And this is one of the most fabulous little bothies I've ever been to. I've still got that soot on my face last night. Didn't wash my face last night, obviously. That titanium cup with the bioethanol gets sooty, and I was holding the cup to drink my hot chocolate, not realising, and touching my face afterwards. And I've washed my hands, promise. I'll have to dunk my face in the sea this morning. The outside of the bothy is known as enchanting, and that's a word we don't use often enough, enchanting. You've got just see the gable end of another ruined cottage there, and then you've got these lovely low walls, which I think are probably stock walls for keeping the sheep sheltered in, and inside there's a load of old flotsam and jetsam, a load of debris. Looks like it mainly consists of lobster pots which have been washed up. And there's a jerry can in the corner there. As for the weather, we've just completely hit on. Amazing views over the Canna there, and that rock just in the mid foreground, that was an island. When the tide was in, we came in last night and the tide's gradually receded, and it's attached to a part of the mainland. So Sean's just been exploring beachcombing down there, and I think this is fantastic. This is a whale skull perched on a cairn. I think it's fantastic somebody's placed it here in front of the bothy like this, because it's almost like a totem. It's totemic, and I know what this sounds like, but it reminds me of a time when I think communities lived in closer touch with nature, and you had to revere nature because it could give, but it could also unexpectedly and tragically take it away as well. And I think this is just almost like a pagan token and reverence of nature, the power of nature. Next to the bothy is the tremendous bloodstone hill up there, and historically bloodstone was mined from the top of there, and a bloodstone's like it's a chalcedony, a type of silicate, but it's got these red pale specks in it that look like dried blood, and it's obviously a ferrite material. Ferrite? Is that actually a word? Ferrous? It's like a ferrous material, iron material that forms the red. And the smart money is that you don't find it on top of here anymore. You can actually find it just by beachcombing this wonderful shingle beach. So I'm going to have a look later on. bones and skulls piled up outside the bothy. And by the look of them, again, I'm not an anatomist, but you look at the foramen magnum, and it's right on the back of the skull, so it's from a mammal that kind of lies flat rather than one that stands up with the skull on top. So I think this is probably one of the pinnipeds. It's a seal or something, and I don't know what's common around here. Is it common seal or grey seal? I'm not sure, but it feels like there's a lot of seal skulls here. We found this great cleft. That's going to be 100 foot up there, riven into the cliffs here. Pretty cave-like. Is it?
Look.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's goats scattered all around.
Yeah.
Nick's just said where the goats hang out in the bad weather. What a fantastic place. Goes right back.
Gee.
The goats aren't daft, are they? We're doing a minor bit of scrambling now. Up on the base of the sea cliffs. There's lots of limpet and willix, or periwinkles in English, on the rocks. You could do a bit of foraging at low tide. Limpets are okay with a bit of garlic butter and a bit of salt, but they're pretty chewy. I like them though. We found another cave that goes right in here, but it looks like the tide probably comes right into it. I don't think it'll be a goat shelter. Isn't this place amazing? Just fantastic. Look at the, I don't know if you can see it with the GoPro, but over there you can see a delineation and the coloration of the rocks. That's horizontal, and I'm guessing that's probably where the tide comes up to. So it will probably cover the bottom of this cave. We've made our way over to another cave now. With only one, I've only got one wet foot to show for it, but this one's, it's quite shallow, and I'm pretty sure the tide comes right up into here. There's plenty of abandoned, washed up lobster pots. The lobster potting must be good out here. You can see a couple of buoys in the bay, and I wonder if that's where fishermen have marked their pots. Must have been a canny storm to get that up to here. We don't know what this is. Is it part of a mine? I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. Nick went a bit further on the cliff than I did, and he found a couple of antlers. They're not a pair because one's big and one's small, but they look like they were knocked down off the cliff. We've got a little bit more driftwood as well for the fire. I think we'll leave the antlers in the bothy. We found another seal skull as well. This one seems quite small, not quite a pup, but maybe an adolescent. I'm making this up because I don't really know, but that's what I think. We did find some nice pieces of bloodstone out while beachcombing there, and that iron oxide looks very much like dried blood. In this other piece you can see the iron oxide looks much more of a rusty colour, but that I think is the famous bloodstone of Bloodstone Hill in Guirdil Bothy. Although I do enjoy coming to wild and lonely places like this that are hard to get to, I always miss my wife when I'm here. I remember one of the times I felt closest to my wife was when she was in labour, and to distract her, I kept making jokes, telling jokes. She didn't laugh. it must have been the delivery. What do you reckon, lads?
I guess.
Like that one, Sean?
It's a good job Ray doesn't watch your videos.
Nick found a bit of driftwood that he's carving now. These are Nick's carving glasses.
Especially with this big thing.
Yeah, Nick didn't bring a carving knife, but he's using his halter foes, and I think he's making a really nice job of that. Well, the bothy telly is on, look at that, and I don't think it could be any cosier in the bothy tonight. What a fantastic little place this is. I'm going to have a British ration pack of vegetarian sausages and tomatoes. And just in case you're wondering, folks, and I know that you're not, the colours on my buff are the colours of the Northumbrian flag, the gold and the red, and they were supposedly the colours laid on St Oswald's tomb. But extra chilly into here, and it's pretty good. Nice. Good morning, folks, and what a canny morning it is today. I'm gonna have my breakfast, and then the idea today is that tonight we're gonna camp on Kilmory Beach, and we're gonna have to hack out through the bog again till we get to the quad track, and then it should be decent going from there. Looking forward to it. I am liking my new little stove system. 17 quid from Temu, and I've got the little burner inside that I got from Speedster Stoves, and that's just a 750ml kind of generic mug that I use on top. Well, it's a lovely day to be setting off to Kilmory, and so it's goodbye to the old King of Rum and his two deputies up there, and that is Nick's carved fire poker. If you can, use it to poke the fire. Try and resist actually burning it. So it's March in the Inner Hebrides, and I've got my winter bag, I've got my spare socks and warm jacket. The one thing nobody thought to bring was sunglasses and sun cream. It's absolutely baking, so I've just taken a 5-minute break to get my jackets off. So we've hiked out from Gùirdil to where the track forks to that of Kilmory. It goes north to Kilmory now, and we had a much better hike out than hike in. I mean, on the way there, I have to say we lost the path, and we were just louping through knee-deep bog next to the Glen Shellister, through deer track, through quad tracks or gator tracks that just seemed to go nowhere. On the way back out though, I mean, we have got wet. You will get wet even on the path, but much more pleasant walk out. So that's my advice, is to don't be like us and follow the path there and back. Much nicer. So this is the track north to Kilmory. It's I don't know, 2 or 3 kilometres, but look at what we're walking on. It's basically a road, which is such a relief. It's like a motorway for hikers, this. So we're going to be there soon. We'll get the tents pitched and have a look at the view. We've spotted these little structures from the road and climbed up the bank to come and have a look at them. It's got to be an old shieling or an old croft, but I've never seen anything like it. It looks really well built. Still got the lintel over a doorway there, but it's so low. There's Sean there for size. Sean, how tall are you?
6'2".
So it's shorter than 6'2". Let's have a look under the door. And there's still wood here under the lintel. And it's not so big inside. There's a tiny window at the far side here. Oh, it's not a window. It's maybe a shelf or something. So, well, actually, the windows, it looks like they've all been bricked up. Not bricked up, rocked up. I wonder what this place was and when the last time somebody lived here.
There's Nettie.
You come out this little dwelling and you can see the red deer just in the valley there. I know the GoPro won't pick him up, but they've accompanied us all the way up Kilmory Glen. We're getting closer to the bay now, and I'm just hiking through the remains of these old shielings and across them. I think I can see like a gravestone up ahead, and there looks like to be a hide perched on that little knoll on the left. So it is like an old burial ground, but it's all walled off. So I think I'm just gonna not clamber over the top. It seems a bit disrespectful, but what a place to have your eternal rest. Absolutely amazing. Actually, it isn't walled off. I found some steps up in the wall here, so I'm just gonna take a quick look. I mean, these are so weathered it's hard to make out anything at all. FML 1823. 1823. That's just around the time, just before the sheep clearances, isn't it? What an amazing spot. What a fabulous, amazing spot. And this one is so weathered and so lichen covered, and I can't make out anything. Bits and pieces. What a peaceful place. So this is Kilmory Bay, and it looks an absolutely fabulous place to camp. Absolutely fantastic. There's a red deer over there, and there's the two likely lads with the mountains in the background. What a remarkable place. And the grass here looks like it's been cut by a lawnmower. I presume it's sheep nibbled. Sheep nibbled, there's no sheep on the island. Goat or nibbled by red deer. But I think this is going to be a great place to camp. I think this is one of the most fabulous pitches I've ever put my tent. Just look at this. There's my Fianca Cutler. There's Sean and his Durston just below on a little ledge. And there's just the bay opening up in front of us. Unbelievable. I'll have to get some water from the burn now, and I'll probably have to go quite far up there before it becomes not sandy and not salty. So I'm off for a walk now. It's not often you see red deer prints in the sand, but they're all over here. This island is just, it's a red deer island. This looks like a good place to get water from the burn. The sea's down there, so I think I'm far enough up to not get brackish water, and the sand is still covered in red deer tracks. Love it here, absolutely love it. Doesn't look too bad. While I'm here at this beautiful bay, I just want to thank Mike and his lovely wife Laura for buying me a coffee last month. So Mike and Laura, thank you very much. I'm just lying here looking at the view and listening to the waves crash and listening to the oyster catchers, and that's beautiful. I'm falling asleep. I think I'm going to get me bed soon, my last British ration pack, and probably have an early night and just listen to the sea. It's just, what a tonic it is being here, what an antidote to modern life. I love it. That's my beautiful down shoes off, my wet boots on for this morning. They'll soon warm up though. Morning folks, had a great night's sleep last night. Had some weird dreams, mind. I couldn't begin to tell you what they're about. It involved playing Tetris, then washing the piglet, and then hunting for my dog Darwin at a posh hotel spa, and then it got even weirder after that. But anyway, I did sleep really well, and it's a beautiful morning this morning. It's a bit more overcast than it has been the last couple of days. That's me all packed up and ready to get back to Kinloch. We're at a disused quarry now, and this huge heart-shaped rock here represents the love I have for my wife. Real big heart. So we're nearly back at Kinloch, and this is a nice little landmark to show we're nearly there. Just this boulder balanced on top of another one. There's a discussion amongst us as to whether that's natural or whether it's been placed there. My money is on, I think it's probably natural. That was an amazing little village shop, and I got myself a Scotch pie, a can of ginger beer, and some ham and mustard crisps, and I've been craving salt. What do you think of the shop, lads?
Oh, cracking. Fantastic. And it's run by a Geordie.
Aye, and the woman in the shop was from Newcastle. Can't beat it. We're just waiting for the ferry to take us back to Mallaig now, and I've absolutely loved Rum. I think it's one of the wildest places I've ever hiked and camped, and I'm sure to come back. And once again, thank you for coming along on the adventure, and I'll see you on the next one.